Howdy, everybody. This is Bucketeer, and let's go to the movies. I recently saw Bright, Netflix's new big budget, full fledged movie. Bright got on my radar over the summer because of, well, I'm a Shadowrun fan. The basic premise of the movie is what would the modern world be like if a classic fantasy world didn't stay technologically stuck in the Middle Ages and continued on to the modern day. As such, this is a movie that has humans alongside orcs and elves, while indicating that there are quite a few other species in this world as well. However, the movie isn't what you'd expect for the first movie in a new setting like this. Rather than some grand epic that introduces you to the setting, the history, and the politics, this is a movie about a pair of cops and one really bad night. David Ayer directs this, and his name used to be a herald of quality. After Suicide Squad, not so much. One day, when I'm feeling masochistic enough, I'll make a half-hour-long video about that particular train wreck. He's back in his wheelhouse with this movie, though, but it's no end of watch or training day. Joel Edgerton plays Nick, an orc who is the first orc to ever serve as a police officer and faces persecution from his own people and from his fellow officers. Will Smith plays Officer Ward, who wasn't asked if he wanted an orc for a partner. Joel Edgerton gives this movie's best performance through what had to be half an inch of latex. He's one of the movie's best points, playing Nick as very innocent and idealistic in spite of his outward appearance. Will Smith, on the other hand, largely plays Will Smith, but not exactly like you'd expect. There's a whole lot of cynic in him, and even flat-out racism against orcs, which naturally causes a lot of issues between him and his new partner, who's an orc. Imagine that. Will Smith plays this very convincingly, laying out just pure hatred when called for it. It's really interesting to see Will Smith play this kind of character when he normally plays the opposite. The story of these two's bad night revolves around uncovering a magic wand. In this setting, magic is rare, and magic wands represent one of the main sources of it. However, magic wands are insanely dangerous.
All of LA on fire. This is like a nuclear weapon that grants wishes.
And they can only be used by the titular Brights. If anyone else touches a wand, they get destroyed violently. Naturally, everyone wants the wand, and it's up to Nick and Ward to keep it out of the wrong hands and just survive the night. How does it all work, though? Better than I expected, but not as good as I might have hoped. I'm a sucker for a cool concept. I've watched many movies and shows and played many games far longer than they deserved because I desperately hoped that they would wind up doing something cool with their concept. Most of the time, I'm disappointed. With Bright, I'm not as disappointed in their use of the concept. While the underlying cop movie might not be as strong as it could be, at the very least they use the concept well. Bright doesn't do what a lot of movies in this situation would, which is give exposition dump after exposition dump about how their world works. Instead, Bright gives you just enough to follow along with what's going on in the movie and understand the basics, but it doesn't ever go off on unnecessary tangents. That said, they don't hold back. All through the movie, you'll see little details and hear things that hint at the broader setting. Don't do what I did the first time I watched Bright. This is not the kind of movie you can just turn on as background noise. There are a lot of visual details throughout the movie that you'll miss if you don't give it your full attention. The problem, however, is that underlying cop story isn't as good as it should have been. Ultimately, it's serviceable, but with David Ayer at the helm, it should have been much more than just serviceable. While the movie dodges some well-worn tropes, it can also revel in others. The movie is so willing to subvert expectations at so many turns that it's a bit disappointing when things play out exactly as you would expect in others. The editing is also not great. It's not quite the Suicide Squad level of a train wreck, but it's definitely noticeable, especially in the second act, where the movie feels like it had no clear vision, how they got from the first act to the third act, and it settles for having multiple vignettes that just sort of connect the two, but they never give any real clear vision or progression from scene to scene. The action in Bright is well done, and a shot including a 180-degree camera pan during the pivotal decision moment for Ward is just gorgeous, just full of all kinds of little details. There's also a car chase and a crash that is likewise very well done. Combined with the sets and locations, it's clear that a lot of effort and money went into making sure that Bright was visually on par with a traditional Hollywood movie. I feel like I have to make a mention of an odd detail, though, specifically the cursing and nudity. Bright is a hard R movie, and it just doesn't seem like there's any point to it. I can't imagine something like Training Day being toned down. It wouldn't have the same punch, the same grittiness. However, in Bright, I can see it being massively toned down and the movie losing nothing. It feels like the script was written and at the last moment some executives came along and said, "We gotta adult this up," and crayoned in some random cursings and boobies. This could have easily been a soft R-rated movie, maybe even a hard PG-13, and lost nothing. I honestly think this is the first time I've ever thought an airplane edit of a movie might actually make it better. My final verdict? I enjoyed Bright a lot. I've watched it twice so far and can definitely see myself watching it again in the future. However, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who doesn't have an underlying interest in the concept, either with David Ayer-style cop stories or in a fantasy setting in general. Overall, I'd give Bright a B-. A very good effort that definitely does something with its concept, but just doesn't quite get all the way there. Alright, this has been Bogatir. I'll catch you next time.